sensitivity,
high sensitivity,
best sensitivity,
sensitive application.
a higher sensitivity camera, a very high sensitivity camera.
Yo, come closer. The big boys aren't going to like this. This thing has 25 mK NETD thermal sensitivity. It has AI capabilities. It's a huge touchscreen of 5.5 inches, one of the largest in the market. And in this form factor, all for under 20,000 Singapore dollars.
Wow.
You're going to struggle to find something to fight this thing. Do you want to learn more? Keep watching. Hi, and welcome back to Thermal Talk. We're at episode 2. We're back with a new camera. We're talking about a camera with 25 mK sensitivity. That's crazy low at under 20k Sing dollars. That's it's kind of hard to beat. But then we're gonna ask Marcus, like, what kind of other things this camera has installed for you if you're gonna buy it, and we're gonna see if you need it. So we understand that 25 mK is very crucial for some people, especially like even building inspectors, right?
Yes.
So how does that matter to them? Like, how would that appear differently from, say, a 50 mK or 75 mK camera? Why is this so important for building people?
Yeah. So to answer your questions, usually, let's say if today there is 2 cameras that the building inspectors has, and he decided to actually use a 50 mK to be on site to do the water seepage measurement, there will be a situation that due to the low sensitivity, they are unable to identify any water seepages.
So my understanding of like building inspections, right, is that especially for water leakages, the moisture of a surface, sometimes the temperature difference is like by a few degrees only, right?
Yes.
So if the camera doesn't have sufficient sensitivity, it won't show up visually on the thermal image. But with high sensitivity, you can really see, okay, this area is wet, this area is dry, right?
Yeah, right.
I think we've also experienced it ourselves. We tried it with one of those, I think it had about 40 to 50 mK. And then even with the black and white palette, wow, it was not easy to make out the water moisture. So having high sensitivity is very, very crucial for building inspectors, right?
Yes, you're right.
So what sort of organization or company would need something like this with sensitivity, or even this camera?
So if it's for building inspections, one of the company, well, you can see we're in Singapore, there's so many HDBs that actually have this kind of water seepages occurrence due to the old flats or not properly done on the water insulation and stuff like that. So definitely companies like HDBs or even BCA, the Building and Construction Authority, they can actually use this type of camera to identify this kind of water seepages to tackle the issue easily with the sensitivity.
Right. Or any other building inspection company that is assisting in water seepage and that kind of water leakage issues, right?
Yes, you're right. Sometimes companies like constructions company or even interior designer firms, they also use this kind of camera to identify for their owners.
So other than building inspection, what other application would require such high sensitivity?
One of our customers, they uses this, actually measures the turbulent kinetic energy on a free waveform on the liquid side.
This is like the ocean waves, right?
Yes, you are right. So definitely, then you would ask, why do they need this specific camera? I think you just mentioned it. Spot on is the 25 mK. One of the reasons is because of its sensitivity. Because when we are talking about waveform, right, since they have a lab, during the normal environment temperature, we can't really see the huge difference in temperature difference. Hence, they would require such a high sensitivity to actually identify the waveform over time. They can create a waveform and then they use the camera to identify it. And then they study the waveform.
Interesting. That's very specific though. But it's very cool. We can see how it can be used even in that sort of environment, that sort of application. So we talked about research use, we talked about building use, but in Singapore context, I think a lot of thermographers are electrical inspectors. So for electrical inspection, what do you think this camera would be really good for?
In today's world of electrical thermal imaging inspection, they open up the panel, they measure one by one. But if let's say they wanted to monitor for a certain period of time on specific components in their electrical dBs, they can actually mount this on and have that region of interest up to 25 of them, and they can do a recording, temperature recording over time, because that is more on deep diving and to identify what are the temperature versus the time.
So we talk about electrical inspections. In Singapore, we do a lot of indoor, but overseas, there's a lot of external transmission lines. Like, would this camera be suitable for those kind of inspections?
Yeah. So one of the reasons is having this form factor that allows you to use in the outdoors environment, and also couple in with a telescopic lens, you can actually be able to see at a very far distance and yet be able to capture the image at a safe distance, right? And of course, if the sun is glaring enough, you can actually use the viewfinder. So this is actually very suitable for those high tension, high voltage power line transmissions in the market.
Your preventive maintenance strategy is only as effective as your ability to detect early warning signs. Abnormal heat buildup and undetected temperature variations are usually your first indicator of failure, often leading to costly unplanned downtime. By mastering infrared thermography inspections, you'll enhance diagnostic accuracy, uncover hidden heat risk, pinpoint potential faults before they escalate into critical failures. This is where a structured and standards-compliant thermography training framework will help you analyze anomalies with precision, removing all suspicion. At the Institute of Infrared Thermography, we don't just teach, we guide you through the heat. Having already trained and certified thousands of engineering professionals worldwide, we equip you with practical, hands-on skills to perform effective thermal scanning that safeguards your operations. Take the next step in becoming a qualified thermographer today. Join the elite and master the heat. Explore our free infrared training courses just by visiting iirt.sg/free training.
So I had an initial look at this camera, and I think there are some things that really stood out for me. I think for you as well. Obviously, the physical form factor is quite different from what most people will be very familiar with. The form factor. What I'm talking about is something like this. This is the RT630, as you can see. This is the pistol form factor. You have this pistol grip, which is very different from what we have here in the RS600. So can you share a little bit more about like the form factor? Like why this form factor? Who will need something like this versus something like this?
So as you can see, right, the RT630 is what we call the one-line sight. When we actually see from our eye view angle, right, versus the camera lens, we're actually seeing at the straight lines. But there will be situations where we do not have the luxury of seeing that, right? So what happens is this RS630 allows you to turn it and also allows you to levitate to an angle for the viewer to actually look at the screen and at the same time capture it, right? So for example, if I am to look at something that is high up, I can actually point it up and yet has the luxury of actually looking at the screen without actually, bringing the camera all the way up and strain my whole arm, you see, like this. So that is a small little difference. If you wanted to use it in an outdoor environment, there will be a situation that there's a sun glaring on the screen and there's so many reflections that we actually can't really see on what we have on the screen itself. We can actually turn the screen mode on and we can actually use the viewfinder over here to actually look through the screen, and while we can actually tilt it. So this will actually solve the problems on the sun glaring method. And as you can see, this seems to be pretty heavy equipment, but we actually did a comparison. They are around the same weight as the pistol type. And one of the advantage is that it comes with a lanyard that allows you to operate it as a normal DSLR camera. Means the inspector or the user can actually have a lanyard over here, and they can actually hang it over here like this, rather than having that pistol camera to be dangling around. And whenever they need to use it, they can just open it up, and then they can just start shooting and capture the images that they require.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed about the cameras like this, definitely as Marcus has brought up, is this angle thing. Especially if you're looking at things that are really high, very far away. Having this angle makes a huge difference. Especially very awkward angles where, for the normal pistol type, you have to strain your neck just to look at something high. Whereas this one, you can angle it this way. You can even turn this so that your wrist is comfortable, your eyes are comfortable, your neck is comfortable to be able to see weird angles. So this form factor is really comfortable. As you can see, it is kind of big, but the large screen, sometimes it's kind of like your phone where, if you have too small a phone, you can't really see much information, whereas this screen is so huge. You have your phone with you?
Yeah, I do have one. Let's find out.
Look at the size of this screen. It's almost the size of like a mobile phone. So you don't have to worry about like not being able to see or change the functions. You can very quickly, very easily change the functions, rather than in most other cameras you have to click through the menu, go in some more. But with this one, you can just click on the screen. It's a touch screen. It's a 5.5-inch touch screen, one of the biggest in the market. That's really quite impressive. So one thing you've noticed is we kind of mentioned outdoor a few times. Let's really like dive deeper into how this camera can be really beneficial for like outdoor usage. So there are a huge range of lenses for this camera. From the three basic lenses, we have the standard, wide, and tele zoom lens, but there's also a super macro and super telescopic lens. That's for like really, really far applications, right? And really far application means buildings and even outdoor transmission lines, objects that are really, really far away to see. I've also noticed something unique on this camera. You all can't see it until I turn this camera around, and if you look at this button right here, it says AI. This camera has AI. So Marcus, is this camera going to take over my job? Or
that's a good question.
Can I just sit back?
So the quick answer for you is that you can definitely retain your job by being able to holding the camera.
Okay.
And it does everything for you. So so far,
somebody's gonna hold it.
Yeah, somebody's gonna hold it. So I'm glad you brought that up. What happens on this AI feature? It was just launched just a few months back. What happened is when you press on the AI button, there is a so-called voice assistant that allows you to actually, you can command it, and they can do stuff like changing the emissivity of the image, changing the color palettes, and also if you're not sure about the emissivity on the material itself, they can actually list it out. So anything you have any questions about the camera, you can actually click on the AI button, and then they will start explaining to you what is it about.
We saw a video from Rating itself about the capabilities of the AI. Pretty exciting times. When we tested it out, it's still in its initial phase. There are still some things to iron out, but there's huge potential. The fact that they have already built the button in, the fact that the software is inside already, has room for so much improvement, so much potential in the future. At this point in time, the few things we tried out is like changing the color palette purely by voice, changing some of the settings by voice. That's a really, really good start. In the future, we could be looking at analysis, batch analysis. Sometimes you're shooting like hundreds of thermal images, and you don't want to have to manually go through each and every one just to find out which one is the anomaly. I'm sure AI will be able to just narrow down the images that are potentially problematic so that you can check, you can verify. So we see what the AI can do in this camera, but what do you think AI can do for not just this camera, but in the future?
Right. Right now we are, like what you say, we are entering the AI realm, right? So it's pretty amazing what we have seen so far in the internet. So if we were to give some ideas on where this could be, right, it could be in a sense that us having to carry the camera, go to the site applications. Once we just turn on the camera and do the first focusing, they might be able to straight away tell us, oh, you are identifying water seepages, and this is it. And maybe they can even ask you, do you want to create a report out of this? I can create for you right away.
Yeah.
So maybe we just need to intervene by just pressing a button, and then we can have all the information.
Yeah.
So it's pretty black
It
mirror.
sounds very easy, but yet scary at the same time, in a sense that the human understanding of it will be less required. You don't need a very, very qualified person to use it, but a huge but is that you still need a very qualified person to verify.
Yes.
Right? Because AI is still mechanical, it's still it's not be able to sense the environment that the target is in.
Yes.
Right? In due time, perhaps the AI can tell, okay, what is this component? And then tell, based on the temperature, to just highlight the things that are potentially problematic, and then very easily create the report. I think some of the very manual task thing is going to get simpler with AI built into the camera.
Yes.
Already we've seen with this particular model, you can almost hands-free, because the settings, the functions is purely voice activated. Right. You can tell the AI what to do, and it will just change the setting for you. So this is the potential of the future of AI in thermal cameras. Yeah, kind of cool, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Okay, so we've seen some of the cool things this camera can do. We're gonna ask Marcus, right? What are some of the more unique requirements that customers have requested for that perhaps this camera can address?
I always tell my customer, whenever they want to put their region of interest on the image that they have captured, I ask them not to put so much because it's gonna be very overwhelmed. And usually I ask them to, if you can, you just take an image and you analyze using a laptop. Reason is because you have a bigger screen, right? So there will be some situation where customer tell me, I just do not have the time to go to my laptop. So we are having a first world problem here. So of course, using this camera address at least 80% of it by actually having a larger screen. So with the larger screen, we can actually add up to 25 point of regions.
25?
Yes, 25. So can you imagine in what situation that we want to have up to 25, right? So we do have some of the customers in the molding industry, there's a cavity and there's a core, right? Between them, there's like an array of different products. That's how they generate to maximize the capacity. We actually uses this camera, and we can actually create up to 25 region of interest. At the same time, whenever during the processes, right, they are able to identify each and every box temperature differences, and we can even add the temperature alarm. Let's say if anything that exceeds a certain temperature, it can actually sound an alarm on the individual box.
Yeah, one thing that I'll add on is the resolution. Because the resolution is so high, you can't afford to have that many points.
Yeah.
Because if it's low resolution, having that many points is useless.
Yes.
Because it's not, not very accurate. 25 regions of interest with individual trigger alarms. That is crazy. Do you need so many? Share with us in the comments like how many regions of interest you typically use. And if you are the 25 person, check this one out, man. This camera is meant for you. But the rest of you, please tell me how many regions interest do you really need? So at IRFT, we do our own electrical inspection for customers as well. A lot of customers come to us. We go to their switch rooms, open up all the DV boxes and stuff like that to inspect the connections, the cables and stuff like that. And having it angle is really helpful. The weight is pretty decent. And also having such a large screen makes it just so much easier to see, especially if it like weird angles that you need to be like maybe on the side or something like that, or you have to look from a very high vantage point like that. I think this form factor is pretty useful for electrical inspection. Also, if your electrical inspection is like really tight, there is the option for a wide angle lens also. So that's really crucial. I think when you mentioned about the static monitoring resolution of 640 by 512, like that contributes to the reason why this thing can actually do 25 points. Imagine having much lower resolution and 25 points, you're not going to get very, very accurate readings. And having such high resolution allows you to also see many targets in one shot rather than having to chop it up into many different images or angles and stuff like that. So I think that point is quite solid for electrical inspectors who need to monitor something over a duration of time. This thing has time lapse as well, which is quite I think a basic function of the more advanced camera models these days, right?
You're right. You're right.
So today we checked out the RS600, and if you didn't check out the RT630, check out our first video. But we want to hear from you. What do you want us to cover? Do you want us to cover a different model? Do you want us to cover a certain topic to discuss? So share with us in the comments below. We'll see you next time.
Android on a thermal camera? That's crazy. It means that this is like a phone on the camera itself. The sensitivity of this thing is really impressive. It's so sensitive, huh? You can see veins eh.
If you ask me what are the applications, right? Wow, that would be massive. If I'm going to say everything, I'm going to sign an NDA.
So it's all-in-one. You can shoot, you can do your report, everything on this thing. A wide range of lenses up to 1,500 degrees. Surprisingly, the weight is not too bad. It makes it very easy to handle. Controls are very easily accessible. Everything can be done with just one hand. Of course, you can use your other hand for the touch screen. So that is the unique part that we'll dive into more later.
I'm going to try to be faster than you.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
I need a closing tagline at some point.
You just
stay cool and fun.
well, something along the line, but then
Sibei millennials, yeah.